The message arrived at midnight Earth time. Park Jin-ho was sitting in his small apartment in Seoul when his communication device lit up with the seal of the Galactic Council. He read the words 3 times before he believed them. Emergency summons. Immediate presence required. Non-negotiable. Jin-ho had served as humanity's ambassador to the galactic community for 12 years. In all that time, he had never received a summons like this. The Council did not call emergency meetings for junior species. They barely acknowledged that junior species existed at all. He packed a small bag and called Dr. Kim Hannah, his chief advisor. She answered on the first ring, already dressed and ready. She had received the same message. "What do you think it means?" she asked as they boarded the transport ship. Jin-ho shook his head. "Nothing good. The Council does not invite humans to important discussions. They tolerate us. They do not include us." The journey to Station Prime took 4 days. Station Prime was the center of galactic civilization, a massive structure floating in neutral space. 12 elder species had built it together over 10,000 years ago. Humanity had only known about it for 40 years, since first contact. In cosmic terms, humans were babies who had just learned to walk. When Jin-ho and Hannah arrived, no one greeted them. No honor guard. No diplomatic welcome. Just a single security officer who pointed them toward the council chamber without speaking a word. "This is bad," Hannah whispered.
"Yes," Jin-ho agreed.
"It is." The council chamber was enormous. 12 platforms rose in a circle, each one holding the representatives of an elder species. Some were tall and thin with gray skin. Others were short and covered in scales. A few had no solid form at all, existing as clouds of colored light. All of them were old. All of them were powerful. And all of them were looking down at the 2 humans standing in the center of the room. "Hi." Speaker Vorn sat on the highest platform. He was ancient even by galactic standards, his purple skin wrinkled and spotted with age. He had led the council for 300 years. To him, humanity's entire history was nothing more than a brief moment. "Ambassador Park," Vorn said. His voice echoed through the chamber. "You have been summoned to receive the Council's decision regarding the planet designated Kepler 7b. Jin-ho felt his stomach tighten. Kepler 7b was a human colony world. Over 2 million people lived there. Families, children, farmers, and teachers and engineers, who had spent decades building a new home among the stars. "What decision?" Jin-ho asked. His voice was calm, but his heart was beating fast. "The planet has been reassigned." Born waved one long hand as if brushing away dust. "Our archivists have discovered ancient territorial claims that predate human settlement. The world belongs to the Orvin Dominion. Your colonists have 30 standard days to evacuate." For a moment, Jin-ho could not speak. He looked at Ambassador Kell, the Orvin representative. Kell was smiling. His sharp teeth gleamed in the chamber's cold light. "Hi, Speaker," Jin-ho said slowly. "Our people have lived on that world for 23 years. They have built cities. They have raised children. You cannot simply take it away." "We are not taking anything," Vorn replied. "We are correcting an error. The humans settled on land that was not theirs. This is a matter of law, not emotion." "What law?" "We followed every protocol. We registered the claim. No one objected. The ancient claims supersede your registration." "This is not a debate, Ambassador. This is a notification." Hannah stepped forward. "Hi, Speaker. We request time to examine these ancient claims." "Surely we have the right to verify you have no rights," Kell interrupted. His voice was like breaking glass. "You are a junior species. You exist in this community because we allow it. Learn your place, human." The chamber fell silent. Jin-ho looked around at the other representatives. Some avoided his eyes. Others watched with cold curiosity, as if observing an insect struggling in a web. "We request time to consult with Earth," Jin-ho said. His voice did not shake. He would not give them that satisfaction. Vorn considered this for a long moment. "You have 7 days. After that, the evacuation will begin with or without your cooperation. The meeting was over. Ginho and Hannah walked out of the chamber in silence. The corridors of Station Prime stretched around them, filled with aliens who did not look at them, who walked past them as if they were invisible. When they reached their ship, Jinho finally allowed himself to breathe. His hands were trembling, not with fear, with anger. They planned this, Hannah said. The Orvans have wanted Kepler-7b for years. The mineral deposits alone are worth more than most planetary systems. I know. Cannot fight them, Jinho. The Council controls everything. If we resist, they will crush us. Ginho sat down heavily in his chair. Maybe not. His communication device beeped. An encrypted message from Captain Lee Yuna, commander of the human flagship Defiance. Ginho read it, and his face went pale. What is it? Hannah asked. He handed her the device. She read the message aloud, her voice hollow with shock. The Orvans have already begun landing troops on Kepler-7b. Colonists are being rounded up. 3 people are dead. Ginho stared out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, his people were being dragged from their homes by soldiers of a species that had just smiled in his face and called it law.
Oh.
They did not even wait for the 7 days, Hannah whispered. No, Jinho said. They did not. He stood up and walked to the ship's controls. His hands were steady now. The trembling had stopped. Something had changed inside him. Something cold and hard had taken root. Set course for Earth, he said. Maximum speed. What are we going to do? Ginho did not answer for a long time. When he finally spoke, his voice was quiet and calm. Whatever we have to. The ship jumped 2 faster than light speed, and the stars blurred into lines of white light. Behind them, the Galactic Council continued its ancient business. Confident that the humans would accept their place, they had no idea what was coming. Earth had never felt so small. Ginho stood in the Great Hall of the United Earth Council, surrounded by the leaders of every nation on the planet. Presidents, prime ministers, generals, and admirals filled the circular room. All of them were waiting for him to speak. He told them everything. The false claims, the stolen colony, the dead colonists, the smiling face of Ambassador Kell. When he finished, the room exploded with angry voices. Admiral Choi Tai-ho was the first to restore order. He was an old soldier, with gray hair and eyes that had seen too many battles. He raised his hand, and the room fell silent. How long do we have? He asked. 6 days now, Jinho replied. But the Orvans are already on the ground. They are not waiting for the deadline. Then neither should we. Tai-ho turned to face the assembly. I recommend we mobilize the fleet immediately. Not to attack. Not yet. But to show that we will not simply disappear. The debate lasted for hours. Some leaders wanted to negotiate. Others wanted to withdraw from galactic politics entirely. A few demanded immediate war. Ginho listened to all of them, but his mind kept returning to one simple truth. The galaxy did not respect humanity. The galaxy feared strength and laughed at weakness. For 40 years, humans had tried to earn respect through cooperation and patience. And what had it gotten them? Stolen homes and dead children. While the politicians argued, Dr. Kim Hannah worked. She had locked herself in a secure research room with every archive she could access. The ancient territorial claims that Vorn had mentioned should have been easy to find. They were not. After 3 days of searching, she found the truth. The documents are fake, she told Jinho. Her eyes were red from lack of sleep. The Orvans have been bribing council archivists for years. They planted false records in the system. The claims did not exist until 6 months ago.
Oh.
Ginho took the evidence and studied it carefully. Dates that did not match. Signatures that belonged to people who had been dead for centuries. Small errors that proved everything was a lie. This is enough to expose them, Hannah said. If we present this to the council, they will ignore it. Jinho's voice was flat. Vorn knows. He has to know. The council does not care about justice. They care about power. And the Orvans have more power than we do. Then what do we do? Before Jinho could answer, a message arrived from Captain Lee Yuna. Her fleet was holding position near Kepler 7b, watching the Orvon occupation from a safe distance. The situation was getting worse. Jinho read her report aloud. 17 more colonists dead. The Orvons are calling it resistance. They are moving people into detention camps. Families are being separated. Children are being taken from their parents. Hannah covered her mouth with her hand. They are treating our people like animals. Yes. Ginho set down the report. And the galaxy is watching. They want to see what we will do. If we bow, they will know we can be broken. Every species in the council will line up to take what is ours. That night, Ginho met with Admiral Taiho in a small room far from the main council chamber. The old soldier poured 2 glasses of rice wine and handed one to the ambassador. I served in 3 wars before first contact, Taiho said. I thought those days were behind us. I thought the stars would be different. They're not so different. No, Taiho drank deeply. The faces change. The weapons change. But power remains power. And those who have it will always try to crush those who do not. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a sealed document. The seal of the United Earth government gleamed in the dim light. The council voted this morning, Taiho said. In secret. Only the most senior leaders know. Jinho took the document but did not open it. What does it say? Open it. He broke the seal and read the words inside. His hands began to tremble again. Not with anger this time. With something else. Something that felt almost like relief. They will not believe we mean it, Ginho said quietly. Then we will have to show them. Taiho finished his wine and set down the glass. You have studied our history, Ambassador. You know what we are capable of? The galaxy thinks we are children because we are young. They do not understand that we have been fighting each other since we first picked up sticks and stones. War against the Council would mean war against the entire galaxy. Perhaps, or perhaps the galaxy is not as united as it pretends to be. Taiho smiled, but there was no warmth in it. Bullies only stay together when they are winning. The moment they start losing, they scatter like leaves in the wind. Jinho looked at the document in his hands. The words were simple, clear, absolute. When do I leave? He asked. Tomorrow morning. Yuna will escort you to Station Prime. She has orders to engage any vessel that tries to stop you. If the Council refuses our terms, Taiho stood and walked to the window. Outside, the lights of Seoul stretched to the horizon. Millions of people living their lives unaware of what was about to happen. Humanity has never been conquered, the Admiral said. Not by nature. Not by disease. Not by each other, though many have tried. We will not be conquered now. Not by aliens who think our youth makes us weak. He turned back to face Jinho. His old eyes were hard as iron. If they refuse, we will teach them why every species in the galaxy should fear the word. Human? Ginho folded the document and placed it in his pocket. Tomorrow, he would stand before the most powerful beings in the universe, and he would tell them that the age of human patience was over. The silence before thunder is always the longest moment. But when the storm finally breaks, nothing can stop it. The council chamber was full. Every seat was taken. Representatives from all 12 elder species sat on their platforms, watching with curiosity and amusement as the human, Gambasser, walked to the center of the room. Word had spread across the station. The humans were coming to surrender. They were coming to accept the council's wisdom and beg for mercy. Many had come just to watch the spectacle. Junior species needed to learn their place, and there was no better lesson than public humiliation. Park Jinho walked slowly. His footsteps echoed in the vast chamber. Dr. Kim Hannah walked beside him, carrying a small case filled with evidence. Behind them, visible through the great windows, hung the human flagship Defiance. Captain Lee Yuna had refused to dock at the station. She was sending a message of her own. High Speaker Vorn looked down from his platform with cold satisfaction. Ambassador Park, you have returned. I assume you bring word of humanity's compliance with our decision. I bring many things, High Speaker. Ginho's voice was calm and clear. Compliance is not one of them. A murmur ran through the chamber. Ambassador Kell leaned forward on his platform, his sharp teeth gleaming. Bold words for a representative of a species that could be erased from the galaxy in a single afternoon? Jinho ignored him. He turned to face the full assembly. Before I deliver Earth's response, I wish to present evidence to this council. Evidence that the territorial claims against Kepler 7b are false. He nodded to Hannah. She opened her case and activated a holographic display. Documents appeared in the air above them, dates, signatures, records. These claims did not exist 6 months ago, Jinho said. They were created by Orvon agents who bribed members of the Council's archive staff. The signatures belonged to officials who died centuries before the documents were supposedly written. The dating codes use a format that was not invented until long after the supposed filing dates. He pointed to each piece of evidence as he spoke. The chamber grew quiet. Some representatives shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Others refused to meet his eyes. This is not a legal claim, Jinho continued. This is theft. And everyone in this room knows it. High Speaker Vorn's purple face darkened. You accuse the Council of corruption. I accuse the Council of looking away while corruption happened. There is a difference, but not a large one. Ambassador Kell stood on his platform, his voice sharp with anger. This is lies. Human lies designed to delay the inevitable. The Council has already made its decision. No amount of fabricated evidence will change that. Is it fabricated? Ginho asked. Then examine it. Prove me wrong. Let neutral investigators study the records. Silence filled the chamber. Vorn and Kell exchanged a quick glance. Neither spoke. I see, Jinho said. You will not investigate because you already know what you will find. He paused and looked around the room one final time. Humanity came to the stars 40 years ago. We came seeking knowledge, friendship, peace. We accepted our place as a junior species. We followed every rule. We showed respect even when we were shown none in return. His voice grew harder. We asked only for basic dignity. The right to live on worlds we had built with our own hands. The right to raise our children in safety. The right to be treated as something more than animals. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the sealed document. You answered with theft. With murder. With contempt. 34 of our people are now dead on Kepler 7b. Families have been torn apart. Children have been taken from their parents. And you expect us to accept this quietly. What choice do you have? Kell asked. He was smiling again. You are nothing. A minor species on the edge of known space? We have ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. You have been in space for less than a century. You cannot fight us. Ginho broke the seal and unfolded the document. Then let me read to you the official response of the United Earth government. The chamber fell absolutely silent. Effective immediately, humanity withdraws from the Galactic Compact. All treaties between Earth and any member of the Council are void. All trade agreements are cancelled. All diplomatic relations are severed. He looked up at Kell. The Orvan's smile had faded. As of this moment, the United Earth government declares a state of war against the Orvan Dominion. Any species that provides aid, support, or shelter to Orvan military forces will be considered a co-combatant and treated accordingly. Chaos erupted. Representatives shouted over each other. Some demanded immediate military action against the humans. Others called for calm. Warden Thule, commander of the Council's peacekeeping armada, stood and pointed at Jinho with a long finger. You are insane. My fleet will destroy your pathetic ships before sunset. This is suicide. Ginho folded the document and placed it back in his pocket. His face showed no emotion at all. You have studied our history, he said quietly. The chamber fell silent again, straining to hear him. You know what we have done to each other. The wars we have fought. The weapons we have built. The cities we have burned. The millions we have killed over nothing more than lines on a map or differences in belief. He looked directly at Vorn. We did all of that to ourselves. To our own species, to our own families. What makes you think we will be gentler with you? No one answered. Jinho turned and walked toward the exit. Hannah followed close behind. At the door, he stopped and looked back one final time. He wanted to teach humanity its place. Congratulations. You have taught us that the galaxy only respects strength. We are fast learners. He walked out. The doors closed behind him. In the corridor, Elder Mavis was waiting. She was one of the oldest members of the council, her form a shimmer of pale blue light. She had always been quiet in meetings, never joining the mockery of humanity. You have just united the council against you, she said softly. Ginho nodded. Good. Now they will all be watching the same direction, while we come from another. He walked past her, toward his ship. Behind him, the Galactic Council descended into panic. They had expected a surrender. They had received a declaration of war and in orbit above them. The Defiance began moving toward the jump point, ready to carry its ambassador home. The war had begun. The Orvan fleet arrived at Kepler 7B expecting an easy victory. 40 warships, each one larger than anything humanity had ever built. They were joined by Warden Thul's peacekeeping armada, another 60 vessels sent by the Council to witness the destruction of human resistance, 100 ships against 12. The math was simple. The outcome seemed certain. Captain Lee Eunice stood on the bridge of the Defiance and watched the enemy fleet drop out of faster-than-light travel. Her crew was silent, waiting for orders. Every screen showed the same thing. Overwhelming force coming straight at them. Status report, Eunice said calmly. All systems operational, her first officer replied. Weapons charged. Shields at full power. Crew at battle stations. And the colonists. Admiral Taiho's supply drops were successful. Over 100,000 civilians are armed and ready. They are waiting for our signal. Yuna nodded. She had studied alien warfare for 15 years. She knew how they fought. Precise formations. Strict rules of engagement. Honor codes that limited acceptable tactics. They fought wars like chess games, moving pieces according to ancient traditions. Humans did not fight that way. Begin Operation Thunderstorm, she ordered. The 12 human ships scattered in every direction. The alien commanders watched in confusion as their enemies fled from the battlefield. Was this surrender? Cowardice. They moved to pursue, breaking their careful formations to chase the smaller, faster human vessels. That was their first mistake. The human ships had spent 40 years studying galactic technology. They had not simply copied what they found. They had improved it. Human engines were faster. Human sensors were more precise. And human weapons were built with only one purpose in mind: maximum destruction. The first Orvan ship exploded before its crew even knew they were under attack. Yuna's ships had scattered, but they had not fled. They had repositioned. Now they struck from multiple angles at once, targeting weak points that alien engineers had never thought to protect. Concentrate fire on their command vessels, Yuna ordered. Ignore the smaller ships. Cut off the head. The battle became chaos. Alien commanders tried to restore formation, but human ships moved too fast. They appeared, fired, and vanished before return fire could lock on. Suicide drones slammed into shield generators. Electronic warfare systems scrambled communication networks. The great alien armada began to fall apart. Warden Thule screamed orders from his flagship, but no one could hear him. Human hackers had infiltrated his communication system, filling every channel with static and false commands. His fleet began firing on each other as confused officers followed. Contradictory orders, and then the boarding parties arrived. Galactic civilization had not seen hand-to-hand combat in over 1,000 years. Wars were fought at long range with energy weapons and missiles. The idea of soldiers physically entering an enemy ship was considered primitive, barbaric, unthinkable, human. Marines did not care what aliens thought was civilized. They cut through airlock doors with plasma torches. They stormed corridors with rifles and grenades. They fought in gravity and in zero gravity, in light and in darkness. The aliens had no training for this kind of combat. They fell back in panic as armored humans charged through their ships. Taking control, deck by deck, the Orvan flagship fell in 3 hours. Its captain surrendered when human marines breached his command center and pointed weapons at his head. He had never seen a human face to face before. He had thought they were small and weak. The soldiers standing before him were covered in alien blood and showed no fear at all. On the surface of Kepler 7b, the colonists rose up. They had been waiting for days, hiding weapons in basements and warehouses. When the signal came, they attacked. Orvan occupation forces found themselves surrounded by farmers and teachers who fought like wild animals. "Fall back," the Orvan ground commander shouted. "Fall back to the landing zones." But there was nowhere to fall back to. Human guerrilla fighters had destroyed the landing pads. Orvan soldiers who tried to flee were cut down by snipers hidden in the hills. The occupation that was supposed to take 30 days collapsed in less than 12 hours in orbit. The battle ended as quickly as it had begun. Wardenthal's flagship was burning, its crew abandoning ship in escape pods. 40% of the Council Armada was destroyed or disabled. The remaining ships jumped to faster-than-light travel and fled. Leaving the battlefield to the humans, Captain Yuna stood on her bridge and looked at the wreckage floating in space. 12 human ships against 100. Everyone in the galaxy had expected a massacre. They had been right, just not the way they had imagined. "Send a message to all channels," Yuna ordered. "Open frequency. Let everyone hear." Her communications officer nodded. "Channel open," Yuna spoke clearly. "This is Captain Lee Yuna of the United Earth Fleet. The Orvan occupation of Kepler 7b is over. Any vessel entering this system without permission will be destroyed. Humanity does not ask for respect. We do not beg for peace. We take what is ours, and we hold it." She paused. "Remember this day. Remember what happens when you threaten our homes." The message spread across the galaxy at the speed of light. On Station Prime, High Speaker Vorn received the battle report and read it in silence. His hands trembled. An aide asked what they should do. Vorn had no answer. No one had ever declared war on the Council and won the first battle. No one had ever boarded a galactic warship in combat. No one had ever treated the peacekeeping armada like target practice until now. Contact Ambassador Kel Vorn finally said, "Tell him to stay hidden. The humans will be coming for him next." But it was already too late. On a neutral station at the edge of known space, Kel was packing his belongings when human special forces kicked down his door. They did not kill him. They wanted him alive. Admiral Choi Taiho had been very clear about that. Kel would stand trial on Earth. The galaxy would watch. And everyone would know that humanity did not forget and did not forgive. The war had just begun, and humanity was winning. The galaxy watched in disbelief as the war continued. Every prediction had been wrong. Every assumption had failed. The junior species that was supposed to be crushed in days was now pushing deep into Orvan territory. Liberating worlds that had been under Dominion control for centuries. 3 weeks after the Battle of Kepler 7b, 2 Council species quietly withdrew their support for the Orvans. They claimed neutrality, but everyone knew the truth. They were afraid. A month later, 3 more species followed. The great alliance that had seemed so powerful was falling apart, exactly as Admiral Taiho had predicted. Elder Mavis was the first council member to openly call for peace. She addressed the assembly in a voice that shook with age and worry. "This war cannot continue. Every day we lose more ships. Every day more worlds fall. The humans are not fighting the way we expected. They are not fighting the way anyone has fought in 10,000 years. Then we must adapt," Wardenthal replied. He was no longer the confident commander who had promised to destroy the human fleet in hours. Half his ships were gone. His reputation was in ruins. "We must learn their tactics and use them against them." "How?" Mavis asked. "We do not think the way they do. We do not fight the way they do. Our soldiers have never trained for close combat. Our commanders have never studied guerrilla warfare. The humans have been preparing for conflict since before they discovered fire. We cannot catch up in weeks. Now the council chamber fell silent. High Speaker Vorn had not spoken in days. He sat on his platform, looking older than ever, watching his carefully built order collapse around him. Finally, he raised his hand. Contact Earth. Request negotiations. On what terms? Someone asked. Any terms they will accept. Vorn's voice was barely a whisper. Any terms at all? The message reached Admiral Tai-Ho on the bridge of his command ship. He read it twice, then laughed. It was not a happy sound. They want peace, he told Captain Yuna and Ambassador Jin-Ho, who had joined him for the final push into Orvon space. They are willing to negotiate on Station Prime, Gin-Ho asked. That is what they suggest. Gin-Ho shook his head. No, if they want peace, they come to us. They come to Earth. Tai-Ho smiled. I was hoping you would say that. 2 weeks later, the impossible happened. A Galactic Council delegation arrived in the Sol system. Their ship was enormous, built for creatures who had never imagined they would visit a junior species homeworld. It looked strange orbiting Earth. It's like a whale swimming in a pond. High Speaker Vorn stepped off the transport with 5 other council representatives. They were met by a full military honor guard. Soldiers in formal uniforms lined the path from the landing pad to the conference building. Human jets flew overhead in precise formation. Vorn looked around at the city of Sol stretching to the horizon. Millions of people, thousands of buildings. Roads and bridges and parks, built by a species that the council had dismissed as children. How many humans are there? He asked his aide. Approximately 12 billion on this planet alone. Another 8 billion spread across their colonies. 20 billion. The Orvon Dominion had controlled 200 billion before the war. Now that number was falling fast as human forces liberated world after world. At this rate, the Dominion would cease to exist within a year. The negotiations lasted 3 days. Gin-Ho led the human delegation. He did not raise his voice. He did not threaten. He simply stated humanity's terms and waited. Recognition of human sovereignty over all current and future colony worlds. Full reparations for the damage done to Kepler 7b. The arrest and trial of Ambassador Kell for crimes against humanity. And the reformation of the Galactic Council to include humanity as a full elder member with voting rights. These terms are unprecedented, Vorn protested. No species has ever risen to elder status in less than 1,000 years. Gin-Ho shrugged. No species has ever declared war on the Council and won. We are creating many precedents. If we refuse, then the war continues. We've already taken half of Orvon space. We estimate complete victory within 8 months. After that, we will begin examining the records of other Council species. I am told there may be some irregularities in how certain territories were acquired. The threat was clear. Accept humanity as an equal, or watch the Council tear itself apart as every species fought to avoid being the next target. Vorn looked at the other delegates. One by one, they nodded. They had no choice. We accept your terms, Vorn said. The words seemed to cause him physical pain. Humanity will be recognized as an elder species with full council rights. Jin-Ho stood and offered his hand. Vorn stared at it in confusion. It is a human custom, Gin-Ho explained. We shake hands to seal an agreement. Vorn reached out and grasped the human's hand. His fingers were cold and thin. Gin-Ho's grip was firm and warm. The war is over, Gin-Ho said. 1 year later, Ambassador Park Gin-Ho walked into the Galactic Council chamber and took his seat. Not in the center of the room where junior species stood to beg and plead. On a platform of his own, the same level as the other elder species, Captain Lee Yuna, stood behind him in full military dress. Her uniform was covered with medals, won in battles that would be studied for centuries. Admiral Choi Tai-Ho watched from Earth, smiling as the broadcast reached home. The chamber was full again. Representatives from every corner of the galaxy had come to witness this moment. Many had laughed when humanity first joined the galactic community. No one was laughing now. A new species arrived as junior members. Their ambassador was young and nervous, overwhelmed by the ancient power surrounding him. After the ceremony, he approached Jinho. Ambassador Park, he said. Everyone speaks of how quickly humanity rose to elder status. How did you do it? What is your secret? Jinho looked at the young alien. He thought about Kepler 7b, about the colonists who had fought back with farming tools, about the soldiers who had stormed enemy ships with nothing but courage and rage, about a species that had spent its entire history fighting itself and had finally found something worth fighting for. We asked for respect, Jinho said. When they refused, we took it. He smiled. That is what humans do. The young ambassador nodded slowly, not quite understanding. He would learn. The whole galaxy would learn. Humanity was no longer a junior species begging for scraps. They were equals, and they had earned their place not with patience or diplomacy, but with fire and blood. Park Jinho looked around the council chamber. The same room where he had been humiliated, the same platforms where ancient species had looked down on him with contempt. Now they looked at him with something else: respect, fear, recognition. He had promised Admiral Taiho that he would teach the galaxy why they should fear the word human. He had kept that promise, and he was only getting started.